Welcome to Invisible Strings, where we tug at the little threads that hold our lives together. From mental health and relationships to marriage, motherhood, and all the beautiful chaos in between. I'm Katie, your guide to navigating life's tangled web, one string at a time. Think of this as your weekly dose of insight, sprinkled with a bit of laughter, some heartfelt chats, and maybe even a happy tear or two. So, whether you're juggling a million things or you just need a break, let's untangle life together, because those invisible strings, they're what keep us connected. This is Invisible Strings. Let's get started. Good morning and happy Friday, friends. Welcome back to Invisible Strings, the podcast where we pull at the threads of life and untangle what's really going on beneath the surface. Today, we're talking about anxiety and panic attacks. You know, those moments when your heart's racing, your palms are sweating, and you're convinced something awful is about to happen. Yeah, we've all been there. But here's the deal. You're not crazy. Anxiety has a way of making us feel like you're losing it. But today, we're shedding some light on what's happening in your body and your mind. Plus, I'll share some tips on how to calm the storm when it hits. So, whether you've experienced anxiety yourself or you're trying to understand what a loved one is going through, grab your coffee, take a deep breath, and let's dive in. You guys, can you believe that this is going to be the 5th episode? This month has gone by so fast and it's been so much fun. It's been really hard, but it's been a lot of fun. Last week, Brad and I had to record that podcast 3 times. At one point, we had finished the entire podcast and we were so excited. It was done. It looked great. It sounded great. Well, it didn't sound like anything because I didn't listen to it, but it was saving itself. And then we were going to church that night. And after church, we went to dinner and Brad was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "I don't know. I have a really weird feeling about this podcast. I don't know what's going on." And I got home to edit it and it didn't record any noise, like nothing. And everything was set. Like you could see on my transmitter here that noise was being recorded. And I feel like typically I would have gotten so upset about that, but I was like, it's okay. We'll do it again tomorrow. So the third time was a charm. So it's come with like a lot of growing pains and I actually enjoy it. It's incredibly fun. And a lot of people have reached out and they have let me know that it's been helpful for them. And that is really, if you remember my first episode, all I care about in terms of this podcast is that if it can just help one person and if one person can just feel seen or heard, that's all I care about. I have had friends ask me about numbers. How many people watched it? Oh my gosh, it's getting so much attention. And I'm like, I don't really care. I just really want it to help people. And it feels like that is what it's doing. And it makes me so happy to hear that. So if you have any feedback, I'd love to hear it. And if I can help you in any way, I'd love to be able to do that too. And I just wanted to let you guys know that I am so thankful and grateful. And, make sure that you share it if people are asking about it. And I'm so grateful for everyone that's listening and anybody that needs anything, please just reach out. I appreciate you guys. I have a little confession. I actually did not know what I was going to do for my podcast this week until today. I had been thinking about it all week. I had been writing down notes and ideas and talking to friends and family. And today, when I was getting my hair done at Lucy Rose Salon, I was talking to one of the girls in there and she started talking to me about how she feels so anxious out of nowhere. It's not something she's had for a long time. It's been something that's been going on for a couple weeks now. And she's she's just pretty anxious. And so the first thing I said to her was, have you had your hormones checked? Because thyroid, hypothyroidism, that can cause anxiety. Vitamin deficiencies can cause anxiety. There's so many different things that can cause it. So The first thing I asked her, though, was, "Have you had your hormones checked?" She has not. So that's the first thing she's going to do. She's going to check her thyroid levels. And it got me thinking, you know what? I should talk a little bit more in depth about anxiety and panic attacks. It's just something I think is important. I know there are so many people very recently that have told me that they are having debilitating anxiety, panic attacks for a number of different reasons. Okay. First things first, let's break down the difference between a panic attack and anxiety because while they might seem similar, they're actually very different. So, anxiety often builds up slowly. It's that constant buzzing in the background, like your brain's got a million tabs open. Maybe you're worried about work or school or that text that you sent 3 hours ago. Regardless, anxiety likes to linger. Now, panic attacks, totally different story. When a panic attack comes on, it comes out of nowhere. You could be sitting down watching a movie and all of a sudden your heart rate will start to speed up. Your breathing starts to get shallow. Your chest feels tight. And sometimes it feels like you're going to die. And it often ends in a call to 911 or a trip to the hospital because you think you're having a heart attack or a stroke. And that's so scary. So, that is the difference between a panic attack and anxiety. Here's a simple way to remember it. Anxiety is like a slow burn and panic is a wildfire. And trust me, I've been there. I remember my first panic attack like it was yesterday. It's so interesting when things like this happen to you because you can even remember the smell. We were in an ice skating rink watching a hockey game, and I can still smell the ice, like vividly smell the ice. And I was there with some friends, and there was a kid who was skating on the ice and he got checked and he fell. His helmet came off. He hit his head on the ground and he started going into a seizure. And then at some point, his heart stopped. And I'm just standing there. It happened like in front of my face, like he was right below me. And I all of a sudden just felt like I couldn't breathe and I felt dizzy. And I felt like I was like out of my body and I had to run out of the ice rink. It was terrifying. I did think I was dying. So I understand how it feels. And it's not fun. And it's hard to hear people say, it's not real. Like, you're going to be fine. It can't hurt you because it feels like it's hurting me. It feels like it's not going to be fine. So I see you and I hear you if that is something that you're struggling with right now. It's like your nervous system is on overdrive. So if this sounds familiar, you're not alone. So, one of the things we were talking about today was the crazy thoughts that you have when you're having anxiety. And the thoughts that I used to have were completely irrational. Like, here's an example. When Olivia was 1.5 years old, I was very pregnant with Whitney, and Olivia had strep throat or maybe an ear infection, and I gave her amoxicillin. And she was in bed. I went to check on her before I went to bed, and I turned her over, and her whole face was swollen, like humongous, gigantic. I don't even know what size, like silver dollar size welts all over her face and body. And it was terrifying. Got her up, went to the hospital. She had a very severe allergic reaction to amoxicillin. And we were in the hospital for a couple of days. It ended up developing into like a erythema multiforme major reaction. And I can't believe I even remember that word, but it is a pretty severe reaction. And while we were in the hospital, doctors came in and out. And one day they said, well, you can have an allergy to anything at any time. And that was not the right thing to say to me because from that point on, I was incredibly hesitant to take any sort of medication. I even wouldn't eat peanut butter or fish because I thought I was going to have an allergic reaction to them. And that's irrational. But I remember being in Rhode Island at my family's house, and my cousin, who's a couple years older than me, had the same exact crazy thoughts. Like we were absolutely irrational together. And so that night, we decided to take a big, huge spoon of peanut butter and eat it. And we were fine because we don't have allergies to peanuts. But it's so interesting how our brains work and play tricks on us and really get us to think about things that are irrational. And that is one of the things that anxiety can do. Anxiety has a knack for turning minor worries into full blown catastrophes. I mean, who out there has not been worried that their headache is actually a brain tumor or that their upset stomach is colon cancer? That kind of stuff happens all the time. And I think that most of us go through life not even talking about it. And so we have these thoughts in our brains, not realizing that other people also have those thoughts and that they are incredibly irrational. And that at that point, it would be a good idea to get some help with that kind of stuff because it makes life really hard to enjoy and to live when you're always anxious about something or you're always anxious something bad is going to happen. When in reality, we don't really have any control over it anyways. Here's the thing. Anxiety is a bit of a drama queen. It's your brain's attempt to protect you, but it tends to overreact most of the time. It's like having a smoke alarm that goes off every single time you make toast. I always say, if your best friend was spiraling with these kind of thoughts, you would not sit there and call her crazy. You would help her. You would give her space. You'd give her time. You'd calm her down. And that's what you should be doing with yourself too. Now, not all anxiety is the same. There is also situational anxiety. And that's the kind of anxiety you feel when you're meeting someone for the first time, or you have to take a test, or you're about to have a baby. That kind of situational anxiety can give you the same effects as regular anxiety, or sometimes as a panic attack. Your heart starts to race, you get butterflies in your tummy, but you know that it's connected to something else, which is the situation. And that kind of anxiety feels normal. But then there's anxiety that overstays its welcome, like the one guest who just won't leave. When anxiety lingers and interferes with your daily life, it may be an anxiety disorder. And that is when I would start to look for someone to help. So here's a question to ask yourself. Is my anxiety tied to a specific event or is it showing up uninvited? Knowing the difference can be empowering and help you get the right support. Believe it or not, anxiety isn't always the enemy. Sometimes it's your body waving a big red flag, letting you know that something isn't right. It could be stress, it could be burnout, unresolved trauma, or it could be something physical, like a hormone imbalance or a thyroid issue. Your body is trying to communicate and it's worth listening to. I know that for me, when I went to college, my advisor told me that I should go get my thyroid tested. It's the first person that told me that. No one told me that when I was in high school. No one told that to my parents. It was not till college when my advisor said, go get your thyroid tested. Sure enough, I did. And sure enough, I was hypothyroid, which just means that my thyroid wasn't working 100%. And your thyroid really controls a lot of your body. So it controls your hormones, it controls your weight, it controls your mind. So that sleep, it controls so many things that I don't understand why it's not always the first thing that people say. Like, you're having anxiety, you're having panic attacks, go get your blood work done, go get your hormones checked, go get your vitamin levels checked. I think that it is so important to go even talk to a functional medicine doctor. There's so many reasons why you could be suffering with anxiety or panic. And it's not always just because you have a disorder. There could be other things happening in your life. So make sure that you're listening to your body. I like to ask myself, what is my anxiety trying to tell me? And sometimes the answer is as simple as, I need rest. Are you sleeping at night? Are you drinking enough water? Are you eating the right foods? Sugar does not help anxiety. Lack of sleep does not help anxiety. Alcohol does not help anxiety. Alcohol helps anxiety in the moment, but It's not worth it because the next day you'll feel even worse, and then you'll have hangover anxiety. That's the worst anxiety. So make sure you're taking care of yourself and make sure that you go and listen to your body when it's telling you things like this. Remember, it's not always a bad thing. Okay, so these are some tools that you can use if you are having anxiety or panic attacks. And some of them work really well for some people and some work better for others. For me, the breathing techniques, I never could get control of them because I was too anxious. Like I couldn't get control. My brain was like moving faster than my breathing. And so I could never really get control over it. But there are so many things that you can do to try to help yourself to get out of the panic, to calm your mind, to calm your heart, to just take deep breaths. So one of them is a 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. And you name 5 things that you see. You name 4 things that you can touch. You name 3 things that you can hear, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. It's like giving your brain a little reality check. It's like bringing you back to the right here and now. That's a great one. That has worked really well for me. Box breathing, which means that you are inhaling for 4 seconds. You're going to hold for 4 seconds, and then you're going to exhale for 4 seconds, and then you're going to do it again. And you can just do this until you feel calm. You can just do this until you feel calmer. Movement. So anxiety hates movement. That's why when you're having a panic attack or you're anxious, you just want to stay in one place where you feel safe. I remember for me, I felt the safest in my bed where I could just feel like I was protected and nothing could happen to me. It's important to go out and exercise. So go on a short walk or do some like gentle stretching, or even shaking it out like a dance party. I remember the adrenaline just flowing through my veins and just wanting to run. But I didn't want to because I was too nervous. But I wanted to because I needed to get the energy out. But also, if I worked out, then my heartbeat would go up higher and then I would think I was having a heart attack again, which I wasn't because that's irrational. I was just anxious. And so, again, like as I'm speaking that out loud, I'm sure you've had those thoughts also where you're like, I want to work out, but I can't leave the house. But I need to leave the house because I want to work out. But when I work out, then my heart rate goes up and then I think I'm going to have another panic attack. So it's, anxiety is so annoying. So annoying. So you got to just try to get that nervous system to calm down so that the thoughts come back and they can be rational again. Talk back to the anxiety. I know that sounds crazy. I mean, I don't think it sounds crazy, but I remember thinking it sounded very strange to me when someone told me to do that when I was in high school. Give your anxiety a name, Selma, maybe something silly like Nervous Nancy, and say, thanks for your concern, Nancy, but I've got this. Sometimes it works. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. Anxiety doesn't define you. You are so much more than the racing thoughts or pounding heartbeats. If today's episode resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Send me a message, share your experience, or tag me on social media. Let's keep this conversation going. And remember, you're never alone. The invisible strings that connect us are stronger than anxiety ever could be. Until next time, take a deep breath, and I'll see you soon on Invisible Strings. Thank you for joining me today on this episode of Invisible Strings, where we've tugged at a few threads and hopefully left you with a smile and something to think about. Remember, life's connections might be invisible, but they're oh so strong. If you enjoyed today's chat, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who could use a little string pulling in their life. Until next time, keep those invisible strings intact, and I'll see you back here soon for more heartfelt conversations and a dash of fun. Stay connected, stay kind, and keep untangling.